Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays, Creative. Welcome back to the Almost Creative Podcast, your one-stop shop for anything business, gear, and just getting better at what you do with your craft. Cut to the wide, Chris. As you can see, we are in a totally different location today. Chris, you want to tell them about where we are?
Today's episode is sponsored by Swing Loose Indoor Golf Club at Bellworks in Hoffman Estates. And yeah, I mean, it's pretty awesome. We needed a set. We wanted something more casual.
Right.
And honestly, like this is awesome.
Yeah, we'll tell you more about that later in the episode, but we're going to get right into this. But before we do, it's been a little while since we've sat down and done an episode together, right?
Yeah.
How long you think it's been? Like 6-7 weeks?
Oh my God. It's probably been about 6-7 weeks.
Yeah, so it's been a little while, and we're actually doing 2 back-to-back with the two of us just to kind of mix it up because we've had a lot of pretty awesome guests. If you haven't heard some of the episodes we've done recently, some really awesome stuff that you wouldn't typically hear on a creative entrepreneur, photographer, videographer podcast, but very applicable to what we do. So definitely check those out. But we thought it'd be fun just to bring the boys back together and do another episode. So
what are we doing today, Travis?
Yeah, why don't you tee up what our topic is this week?
I think you told me in the briefing that today we're talking about movies.
Yeah, so there's a trend going around I've been seeing. People do it with movies, video games. I haven't seen really anything else, but you could probably do this with books, all sorts of things. It's basically the 10 movies to know me by. And so it's not necessarily your top 10 movies, what you think the best 10 movies are. It's 10 movies that, let's say I was in an elevator, I've never met you before, and I wanted to know who you are, but you had to tell me who you are by basically saying movie names. If I heard those movie names, I would get a pretty good picture of like who you are as a person.
Okay, that's kind of subjective though, but
what does that mean?
I mean, I can watch the same movie you have and we'll have different opinions. So we're going to describe our personalities with 10 movies. I might give you my list and you might think, yeah, this guy's a weirdo.
Well, I mean, if you're putting like Shawshank Redemption on your list,
yeah, I don't know
and
who
like
that
that's stuff like that, I might be a little concerned.
On IMDb, that's like on everyone's top.
It is.
List. Yeah, it's.
Have you seen it?
No.
I haven't either.
Oh.
I'm kind of ashamed. Like, I went to IMDb the other day to see what are the top 10 movies or top 100 movies.
Yes.
I think maybe like 10% of them I've seen.
And
it's all the like cliche things that
I went through that list too. Yeah. Anyways, do you want to start it off? Do I start it off?
So yeah, I was wondering how we should do this. So if you want, I could start with my runner-ups and get them out of the way, so you're not thinking about those, or I could save them for the end. What do you?
I'll give you my top 2 because my top 2 are really easy to understand. Like,
okay.
Why do we watch movies? Why do we enjoy them? Number 10, and by the way, my list is in order of like easy to digest to movies that I like molded me. You know, number 10, Rush Hour 2.
Happy Gilmore.
Oh, that's actually
Happy
a good
Gilmore.
choice.
That would have been perfect.
That would have been
That's
perfect.
Too bad. Sorry. You can try that again.
Yeah. Rush Hour 2.
I did not expect this one at all.
Yeah, dude.
But I kind of see it.
Yeah.
Is there a raccoon in the movie?
No, there's not a raccoon in the movie.
I'm waiting for one of these movies to have a raccoon.
I think like, I don't know. I don't like horror or gore. I do like it, but like I think people just try to go too much. But comedy's good. It's always fun. The Rush Hour movies they're like exceptional.
Yeah.
Rush Hour 2 is my best one. Come on, Ricky Tan. Like, I don't know.
I was gonna ask you, why did you pick 2 out of the 3?
I think the two is the better one.
I always hear that too. I don't know if I've actually seen them all. They all kind of blend together.
They're all solid, but
but I think if I remember right, 2 was the highlight.
And then number 9, right? And I'm saying this because if it wasn't for this franchise, I don't think I would have actually got into movies because I grew up on web media, like the internet. But this is the best movie. I think it's just the best one out of like the whole thing, right? Avengers: Infinity War.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is good. This is interesting.
Yeah.
So I might actually go out of order because I can kind of play off of this. But I want to hear why this one in particular is on your list, because there's 2 that come to mind when you're thinking like, what's the grand finale? And you have Infinity War and you have Endgame. So I'm curious why Infinity War.
Because Infinity War is better. Infinity War, people talked about the superheroes losing for the entire year up to Endgame. Yeah. After Endgame came out, muttered, chitter, like nothing.
Yeah.
But Infinity War it's just a good movie. I've rewatched Infinity War. I don't think I've actually rewatched Endgame, or actually sat through it.
Yeah.
But the thing is, again, if it wasn't for Marvel movies, I wouldn't have gotten into movies.
Yeah.
To me, if it wasn't for Marvel, I don't think I would have had the cinema experience. I would be fine with the living room TV.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and shoot out some to you. So I actually kind of cheated on my first one. So
shit.
I actually have 11 movies on my list, but
That's fine.
these two go together. You want to guess what the first one is that I'm gonna talk about? Let's see.
One hint. Is it superhero genre?
No.
Okay. I was really going to guess it was the Dark Knight trilogy. But
So
shit.
this is the first one I want to talk about because I think it's very crucial to my career and kind of set up where I'm at, what I'm doing now, is Toy Story. And I actually, I couldn't decide between Toy Story and Toy Story 3, and I also didn't want to necessarily have 2 Toy Story movies in a list of 10 movies.
Yeah.
So I kind of put them together, but they kind of serve 2 different purposes. 2 doesn't really have much of an impact, 4 a little bit, but 1 in particular, that was like, you know, I think I had been to the movies before then as a kid, but that's like the first movie I still have clear memories going to the movie theater to see. And I think I was so blown away because really it was like the first well-known 3D animation movie. And pretty much after seeing that, it was kind of set in my brain of like, I think this is what I want to eventually do with my life. You know, I want to do something in this realm. Because I was always into video games too as a kid, but video games had not have progressed that far yet. Like, because you're thinking 1996, we were just starting to get into like the 3D era, but it did not look like the Toy Story movie. You know, it was very polygon, like jagged, kind of looked like a Tesla truck, really. That's like what graphics look like. I liked video games. I didn't think that was like my career though. I didn't think I was going to make video games, but when I saw Toy Story, something kind of clicked in me of like, this is what I want to do sometime in my life. I love this like animation, especially the 3D animation. And I didn't really get the opportunity to do much of that. You know, I grew up in a small town. We didn't really have opportunities like that through school. But as soon as some opportunities started arising, I started taking them. And that was pretty much why I decided to go into special effects and motion graphics in college. Now I added Toy Story 3 as well because that also actually is probably the first movie I ever cried at. I had never cried at a movie as far as I know, maybe when I was a little kid or something, but that hit me really hard because of the timing of it.
Yeah.
You know, like you probably can't quite relate because you would have been a child when it came out, but that came out and they knew what they were doing probably. They're like, okay, here's all these Toy Story 1 kids. They're all going off to college. So they hit me multiple times in that movie. One, spoiler alert, if you've not seen Toy Story 3 yet, whenever they're in the trash thing and they're all about to die, that hit me. And I thought that, and then they all make it because it's a Disney movie. They all survive or whatever. And I'm like, okay, whatever. There's a kind of like a fake death kind of thing. But then that ending scene when like Andy's giving away his toys and everything, and what makes it more emotional too, so this was a summer. I had already started school, I believe, at this point. So I think I would have moved away. I can check my notes. When did this movie come out? 2010, yeah, I would have already been in college at this point. So I was visiting my hometown during summer break when I saw this movie, and I went with my mom. So there was just something about that because I don't know who took me to see Toy Story 1. I don't remember, but I'm assuming it was my mom, my dad, or both. So it kind of brought it all like full picture. So that's why I have to kind of put them together because they both, one kind of started my career, and then one is just kind of like, this is like, that was like essentially 3 came out when my career was about to start, essentially. So.
By the way, that's all amazing stuff about Toy Story 3. But Lotso the bear, dude, my hot take, I don't even know if it's that hot of a take, to be honest. Lotso the bear is a top 10, top 15 movie villain.
Totally. Number 2 is kind of crucial to me in a very similar way, but you know, we're talking about animation. I didn't stick with animation as life moved on. I got more into like film production type stuff. So my number 2 I had on my list is The Dark Knight. And I knew I had to have a Christopher Nolan movie. Out of all the directors, he's like the one where like I know it's like his movie. Like I can't really tell you most of the time like if a movie's coming out like who the director is, but he's the one exception. And he's the one I almost said Inception on accident, but
that's cool.
I almost did.
Yeah.
He's the one exception, and I actually had went. So Batman was the first time I even heard of this guy, like making movies. So it would have been Batman Begins, which I actually had skipped. So I watched Batman Begins the day before we went to see a midnight release of The Dark Knight, and I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. I feel like this was the first movie where it's like I understand cinema. Like I don't know, when I'd watched movies in the past, like nothing ever really clicked to me of like this is cinema. This is like, look what they're doing with the lighting, the composition. I never really noticed that stuff, and maybe it was because I was starting to kind of go down that route a little bit more. but there was the first time where like I feel like I was watching the movie. I was very brought in by the story, but I also was very brought in by like what they were doing with camera work, and just like, for example, like that Joker scene where he has the pencil, the magic trick, and the way they cut where you feel it, but you don't even actually see it, but you know what happens, and the way just the camera work happens and the sound design, you feel it. I feel like that was the first movie where I really started noticing stuff. So then I went back through all of Christopher Nolan's other movies, and I'm like, wow, this guy's like a genius. Like the movies he makes, like there's just such a layer to them.
Yeah.
And I love that. And so I definitely had to have one on. I was actually torn a little bit between The Dark Knight and Interstellar, but thinking back to it, I think the only reason why I would pick Interstellar is I just like that movie more, I think. But The Dark Knight has more of a significance to me. And again, as I've kind of progressed, like I've liked superheroes more. And if I had to probably pick a favorite superhero, it probably is Batman. So it also checks that box too.
So my next section, like movies that are like childhood wonder, that kind of just, I don't know, molded personality, but they were first movies that I really vividly remember. Number 8 for my end, right? Night at the Museum.
Okay. This is one I don't really know a lot about. Like, I think I've seen it once, but...
So it was between Zathura, A Space Adventure, and Night at the Museum, because those are the first movies I can remember. But Night at the Museum, I think, just filled my sense of curiosity a lot more. Yeah. And I, like, clearly can remember those movies. I didn't see them in theaters. I got the DVDs, but I just clearly remember them. Do you know what, like, Night at the Museum is?
I thought this was actually going to go totally different. I thought it was going to be like, one time when I was a kid, my parents left me in a museum overnight, and so that's why this movie is...
No, no. Yeah, that's why when I got adopted by raccoons. No, I love museums. I think you know that about me.
Yeah, yeah.
But also it's like, so the plot is basically that this night guard, he was doing advertising, so it didn't work. He needed a job, so he got the night shift at the museum. And there's this tablet from ancient Egypt, and whenever the sun goes down, it animates all of the exhibits and it brings them to life. And so he has to, as the new guy in town, he has to like kind of be like the... not really the negotiator, but he has to like keep the peace and make everyone happy and get everyone settled down. And then there's a plot for the second movie where one of the pharaohs from ancient Egypt, he gets power hungry and he's trying to take control of the museums. It's also, there's a performance of Robin Williams as Teddy Roosevelt. I don't know if it was his last performance, but I think he did a phenomenal job, and that's a whole rant I could go on about. But anyways, I really liked it. It filled me with wonder. And Night at the Museum 2, Amelia Earhart is such a baddie.
Totally unrelated to Night at the Museum, but actually backtracking a little bit with where we started.
Yeah.
My next movie on my list, number 3, is Avengers Endgame. So that's why I thought it was very interesting that you picked Infinity War and I picked Endgame, because I was torn. And again, if someone was asking me which one I think is the better movie, I think it is Infinity War.
Yes.
I think, especially at that time, I remember having conversations with friends who were in the Marvel movies, and at that time it was all the Netflix TV shows as well. And I remember going to see like Civil War, and I'm like, I feel like there's no real consequences, but I love what they were doing with Netflix because it felt like there were real consequences. Like people died, like there were repercussions for actions in those TV shows. And then you go watch the movie and it's this big bang, everything, like anything could happen to anyone and they're probably going to be all right. And then, so I went into Infinity War with low expectations because I'm like, I think I'm getting Marvel fatigue. I think I'm kind of done with the movies. I think I'm just going to stick with the TV shows. And then I go see this movie and the movie ends and they all lose. And I couldn't believe it. And I remember talking to so many people that were pissed off. They're like, really? How do you end a movie like that?
Yeah.
Like they were so mad about it. I'm like, all right, calm down. Like this is part 1. Like, you know, like there's another part coming. They're probably going to win.
Dude,
but
I remember that so badly because I remember, I don't know if you've seen longer movies, but they have like a bathroom break, like a 15-minute bathroom, like black screen bathroom break. So when he snapped and it's like the end and you know, Thanos walks off in his like garden, I was thinking to myself, okay, bathroom break time. They're gonna get their get back. They're gonna like win. And then it just said the Avengers will be back next year. I was like, what? That's the end. That's it. Yeah, like I don't know if I was pissed, but I was like, you can't leave. I have to wait a year. I have to wait a year. No, dude.
I was satisfied by it, but I kind of knew what was coming. You know, I was like, this is probably how they're gonna pay it off. Yeah, it's kind of imagining like what they're gonna do. So. I mean, it sucked we had to wait a whole year, but I knew it, whereas, like, I think a lot of people going into it, they were just expecting this is the 3rd Avengers movie, and there's a 4th Avengers movie, but it's going to be, like, a different movie.
Yeah.
And I think that's, like, the expectation they had kind of set up. But I want to get into why I picked Endgame. So I'm really big into like payoffs, and I'm really
Okay.
big into like collaboration stuff. I think a lot of this came from Marvel. Well, I think it comes from two places. It comes from Smash Bros. And then it
Yeah.
comes from Marvel. I love when like they bring together people you don't expect them to bring together, and they're collaborating in some way, or they're beating each other up, whatever it is. And I've always loved that, and I love when there's a payoff. Like nothing feels better when like everything you've been building leads to something, and there's actually like this is the end game of it all. And the thing too that really got me is like I love when they have trailers that mislead you, and I feel like that's what
Really?
Endgame did as well. And I like that mystery. And there's another pick I have that actually is kind of related to the same thing. I felt like it misled me because I looked at it and I'm like, this is gonna be your generic. Okay, they're getting back together. They're gonna get their revenge on Thanos. And even the movie itself starts that way. You're like, wow, they're already going to fight Thanos. It's gonna be like a 2-hour movie where they're fighting Thanos. They immediately kill him, and then they're like, 5 years later. So they still have not won yet. Like
Yeah.
they still lost like as the movie is progressing. And then eventually it all comes together. But the portal scene in particular, like it was just like that was probably the second time I cried at a movie. So it was
Really?
Toy Story 3, and then it was because I didn't like cry at Infinity War, you know, like I didn't feel. I mean, it was emotional, but it didn't really hit me that way. But the like payoff at the end of everyone coming through the portals and everything, that I felt. And I don't know if it really says a lot about my personality other than the fact that I was never super into superheroes like growing up. It just wasn't really anything like maybe I watched a few cartoons or whatever. But the Marvel movies had basically brought that into my life as like something that I care about now. And I've gone back and read books and the comics and all that stuff. And it's all because of the movies. Like if it wasn't for the movies, like I wouldn't probably have that personality trait, that thing that I like. And to me, this is like the payoff movie. I was trying to think, I was like, I actually almost had put Iron Man on here as well because it kind of started it all. But I was like, no, Endgame is like the one where all of that paid off. And I feel like that's where I really became like super into that stuff. Now, what's happened after Endgame, we won't really talk about. I can't say I've been a big fan of that, but at least that Iron Man up into Endgame, to me, it's just like peak cinema. So
Do the pose. Peak
What's the
cinema.
Peak cinema.
You know, it's you said that at the very beginning. You said that you love when they just bring characters you wouldn't expect them in.
Yeah.
Man, if you were at the age where you could enjoy Fortnite events, you'd just be like,
Yeah,
over the moon.
but to me, and that's the thing too, and that's what I feel like is happening with Marvel now. Now that they can bring anyone and everyone, it kind of loses that like whimsy
Mr.
of it.
Game Watch.
Yeah. So, or like, that's the problem with Fortnite. Like, pretty much every brand, probably besides Nintendo, I think Nintendo's the only one I can even think of that hasn't like partnered with them.
Yeah.
And so it's like, oh, Goku's in it. Okay, well, like,
No, but I think they do a good balance of it. I've
Yeah.
been very critical of Fortnite in the past, but the way they're marketing, the way that they handle stuff, I'm a fan of.
Yeah.
Number 7 on my list, right? Which I wonder. And I think there's a good segue here. You were talking about movies. We're talking about movies where it's good versus bad and good prevails.
Yeah.
This next movie, there is no bad guy. And that's what stuck with me. It's a process film. It's The Martian with Matt Damon.
Oh, I kind of forgot about this movie.
No, dude, it's
I
a
don't
good
think it'd
movie.
be on my list for any reason, but it's a solid movie.
It's stuck with me because it's like there's no bad guy. There's not even a human who has self-interest, and like literally everyone in the world gets together to help this dude. And the whole time he's just problem solving. Like he's a space pirate really. He's just there's this problem, this solution. That leads to this problem, this solution, and that's it. That's the whole thing.
Yeah.
I think it's digestible. I actually read the book too, so
Why would this be on your list though?
Because it's a process film. It's like I don't think we see that much nowadays, and it stuck with me. It's like it's literally just problem solution, and I mean, I think it's stuck in my it's kind of stuck in my head like dude's growing potatoes on Mars, and I don't know. It just kind of is.
Yeah.
You're gonna see that there's probably some more sci-fi stuff too, but I think it's just one of those things where like it's digestible. It's not like it's not trying to pretend something it's not and be pretentious about like I don't want to hear about whatever spaceship from Star Trek. That's a little too much for me.
Yeah,
but
it's more grounded space travel, which I've always. That's why.
Yeah, I like it too.
Is probably
Interstellar is
on
also
my
like that.
favorite list, not on this list, but on my favorite list because it's believable. You know, it's like I mean I don't know the science.
The problem is
but-
physics, not like I don't like Star Wars.
But it is funny because I always kind of mix Martian and Interstellar because in Interstellar, spoiler alert, Matt Damon is like the surprise bad guy.
Oh, I didn't even put two
But
and
so
two.
it's funny when they came out with Martian because it's like he's like the hero,
What's
but
his
he's
name?
also going to space.
Dr.
So,
Man or
I
Man's?
can't remember,
It's
but
Man's
yeah.
Planet. Yeah. The numbers thing is gonna confuse
So
the
I have
audience.
another animated movie.
Okay.
Came out recently.
Okay.
Not actually like I wouldn't actually say it's like a great movie, but I think it's important to be on my list.
Okay.
Do you know where I'm going with this at all?
No idea.
Okay. The
No?
Super Mario movie.
Really?
Because it's so.
Is that animation though? CGI? I mean,
That's
yeah, it is.
animation.
It's
That's 3D
animation.
animation.
Yeah, it's
Why-
3D animation.
Um,
You're right. You're right.
Again, nothing really about the movie in particular, but I felt like this had to be on there because that's so crucial to my childhood. Like that was probably like my favorite character growing up, you know. But there's this whimsy to it as well that I think that resonates with me, and just like it's my way of kind of getting on. Like if I could meet a creator, like I would love to meet Shigeru Miyamoto. I don't think that'll ever happen. He's like 70 years old. They keep him locked up. Miyamoto, like I think like 10 years ago, he used to ride his bike to work every day. And, you know, they're in Japan, so there's a lot of traffic and stuff. He'd ride his bike to work every day. They don't let him do that anymore because he's like too much of a liability. They're like, this man cannot get in a bike accident. So they do not let him take his bike to work anymore. They're like, so, because, I mean, he's like no creator like thinks like he does. Like there's just like this childish like wonder to like what he comes up with. He'll be like, I mean, do you know how Pikmin started? He took up gardening. And that's how I came up with Pikmin.
Oh my god, dude! My girlfriend and her friends are obsessed with Pikmin Bloom. Dude, it's crazy.
Again, it has really nothing to do with the movie itself, but just that property. I felt like I needed to have something of that in there because it did mean a lot to my childhood, and it's something that's kind of stuck with me. Where like, out of all the things, like I'd kind of like my kids to like take from what I liked as a child. That's probably like top of the list, I would say. Like I don't really care if they ever like Ninja Turtles or Power Rangers, but there's something about that like Nintendo charm that I want them to know.
This movie is among the most emotional on the list, and it's like sci-fi and all that. You want to take a guess?
Aliens versus Cowboys. Cowboys versus aliens.
Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, the second one out of the 2010s trilogy. It's just the emotion of it.
Yeah.
I mean, should I elaborate?
Yeah.
As a refresher, so it's the second movie from Caesar, and this one is...
that was what I needed clarity on.
Yeah.
I get... The first one I remember very clearly. The other ones kind of blend together.
So the second one is the one where Caesar gets in a civil war with the apes with Koba. Koba is the bonobo. Something that I find really interesting about this is that Caesar's a chimpanzee.
Yeah.
Koba is a bonobo. Koba is a bonobo, I mean.
Yeah.
Do you know what that means?
I have no idea.
Bonobos in the wild are like peaceful.
Should I put a disclaimer? Like, it's about to get nerdy.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it's about to get nerdy this episode. Chimpanzees are more aggressive. And those characters, because of the way that they were treated by humans, one in a home, one in a lab, they ended up completely different. So Caesar's peaceful and Koba, the bonobo, is like aggressive, a warmonger. So I always find that very interesting. You're not going to know that from the movie, but if you just like know a little bit of, knowledge.
Yeah.
I think it's just the emotion. I mean, sure, it's like chimps with guns on the back of horses, but it's the emotion. I think it's the best one.
This is like a really funny one to follow up the Planet of Apes, because you talk about Planet of Apes, you're talking about like present where there's probably no technology or anything anymore.
Dude, James Cameron wanted to treat Alzheimer's and ended the world. That's what's so funny, man.
So like you're talking about like there's like probably no technology really. These gorillas don't use phones. My next one is all about technology in a way. So it's The Social Network.
Oh, interesting. I kind of forgot about that movie.
So, one, it's a great movie. Like I was talking about Christopher Nolan. David Finch is also another director where, like, I usually see, like, his movie and I can tell it's his movie. Like, he directed that movie. So, great director. Great movie, I would say. The reason why I put on here, though, is just because of our line of work. Like, we deal with a lot of social media. And I was like, how do I loop that in there? So, I wanted to highlight a movie that I really like. And I was also thinking of David Finch and, like, maybe I can try to get him on this list. But none of the movies really make sense with my personality. I would say a lot of his movies are a little more, like, twisted in some ways, And so I was like, well, The Social Network would be good because it also just aligns with what we do as a career. Like, we're making a lot of video content. It goes on social media. If it wasn't really for Facebook, I don't think we'd have social media like we do now, because MySpace definitely did not move the needle as much as Facebook did. And so I thought this would just be a fun one to put on here. I don't have a lot to really say about it, but I do think it just hit that kind of niche of like one, I love the movie and the directing style of it, but two, just that social media aspect and how we're so ingrained into that.
That's very interesting. I haven't watched The Social Network. Is there a preferred way I should watch it? Like,
On a TV.
okay, that's fine.
Not
Vertical?
on a phone. I don't.
Should I move
No, you should watch it on Facebook.
Yeah. Is that possible?
I don't know. That would have been genius.
Yeah, they should have done that. Yeah. Okay, speaking of technology, that's a good segue. My next movie is also about technology.
Yeah.
It's also about fighting, about punching and swinging. You want to take a guess what movie it is?
Fight Club.
No, it's not about Fight Club. But if it was,
Real Steel.
It is Real Steel. It's
I
Real
was like,
Steel.
okay, Fight Club is not his thing. It's probably gonna be with robots. So
Yeah,
then I
dude.
thought
Real Steel.
What are your thoughts on? I don't know. For some reason, when I think of Real Steel, I also think of Pacific Rim.
Oh my god.
I don't know why those two like go together in my head, but
It's it's crazy that neither one of those movies got a sequel.
No, Pacific Rim did.
No, it didn't.
Are you trying to like gaslight me right now? It's like
Pacific Rim never got a sequel.
It did. It was Eastern Rim.
No,
Atlantic Rim.
Do you
I
know?
mean.
Do you know the studio called like Asylum Studio?
No.
They're the people behind Sharknado. Like they do parody movies.
Yeah.
They made Atlantic Rim. I watched it. It was so bad.
That's hilarious.
But I mean, what are you?
I'm not that creative.
What are you expecting out of the Sharknado people?
Yeah.
But what do you mean specifically
So
about
like why is Real Steel on here? Because you like fighting?
I think
you
it's
like
part of
robots?
I mean, yeah, it's easy. Like, I'll say this because I feel like it does tie to the Pacific Rim thing.
Yeah.
Pacific Rim was an honorable mention. It just was a little too childish for like I love monsters and all that, but it was a little too over the top. Real Steel definitely connected more.
Yeah.
I put it on my list because I don't think it got the recognition it deserves. I played the mobile game it had, and I think they released something for PS2.
Yeah.
But as a franchise, I think it's super underdeveloped. The character designs are amazing too.
Yeah.
Twin Cities, Hammer, Midas, Zeus, Adam. Like, I don't know. I just think, again, coming back to the childhood wonder thing, I think it's a really good story, and Hugh Jackman played a good part in that too.
I forgot
but
he was in the movie.
no, he's the main guy. I forget the name of the kid actor, but
Yeah.
I just think it's a good movie. It's something that I rewatch around the holidays too, because it's like a good found family sort of film as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, a man, a son, and some robot.
Speaking of swinging,
Mm.
is there a place you can go to get some swinging in?
There is a place that you can go swinging in, and that's actually the sponsor of today's episode. It's Swing Loose Indoor Golf at Bellworks, located in Hoffman Estates. For $99 a month, you get 3 full hours of play anytime they're open. And once you've used those hours, it's only $33 an hour after that. Playing a foursome, that's just $8.25 per person. An unbeatable deal. And get this, any unused hours roll over for life. No deadlines, no stress, just more time to play. So grab your friends, enjoy the food and drinks, and swing loose at Swing Loose Indoor Golf at Bellworks in Hoffman Estates.
My next movie actually has a lot to do with golf. In fact, there's a monster that basically golfs the head of the Statue of Liberty into the street.
Is it Cloverfield?
It's Cloverfield.
Dude, that's crazy.
And this one's interesting because it's not just about the movie, it's about the marketing, which you might not even really know about.
I know a little bit. Go on.
So, showing up with some friends to see Transformers, and they play this movie trailer. No information. It's just like found footage kind of thing. And then I think there was like a URL link you went to, and then it gave you more information.
Yeah.
I thought that was genius, and I love how smart, again, going back to what I was talking about, I love when trailers kind of deceive you almost and don't really reveal too much. I hate when it's they use there's 3 jokes in the movie and they use all 3 in the trailer. So I love the marketing of this movie, but I also really like that found footage look. I think it's been kind of overdone now. I think it's kind of come and gone, and it lost its coolness. And I was trying to think of all the found footage movies. Most of them are horror related, which horror doesn't really speak to my personality at all. I don't like horror movies. I'm not going to put the Blair Witch or Paranormal Activity on my thing. I think Cloverfield really hits it. 1, because of the found footage. I wanted to incorporate a movie that has that kind of look, but 2, just the way it was marketed. I just love their approach to it.
Have you followed up with any of the other sequels?
I wasn't a big fan of Cloverfield Lane. Again, going back to the horror thing, it was more horror. And I understand the concept of not just a monster could be a monster, like a human could be a monster. I don't know if that's a concept. That's what I took away from it, but it was a little too messed up for me. The Netflix movie,
Yes.
I like that it was a bit more actually connected with
Paradox.
Yeah, but it just wasn't the same for me.
So, dude, honestly, that could be its whole episode. But the thing is, the sequels weren't really supposed. Like Cloverfield Lane wasn't supposed to be a sequel.
Yeah.
It was another movie.
Yeah.
They swapped out like some of the staff like making the film. I think it was the director too, and they made it into a Cloverfield movie. Yeah. That's why there's aliens at the end.
Is
but
J.J.
it's not.
Abrams even tied to that one?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. And then Cloverfield Paradox. I was super excited when I heard that they were developing a film, and I got super excited at the name because do you know what the name was before they named it Paradox?
No.
They called it Cloverfield God Particle.
Oh, okay.
Dude, that is so hard.
You know, that one had similar marketing in a way too. I don't know if you remember.
Yeah.
They played the trailer at the Super Bowl with no context.
Yes,
and it was
yes,
like,
you're right.
Watch
Yes.
Tonight or something like that.
Yes,
so
you're
they
right.
Basically, shadow dropped it.
Dude.
Yeah, but I don't really have anything else to say. But I mean, that one, I felt like I had to get some kind of found footage on the list, and to me, that one's probably the one that resonates.
We can go the space route with the third movie, like God Particle, or sorry, Paradox, or we can go the monster route. Where do you
Let's
want to
get the
go?
monster one.
The monster route,
if it's
kaiju.
what I think it is, like you're gonna be talking about it for 20 minutes.
Dude, I can talk your ear off. You know how we've joked if you ask me about this, I can talk about it for 40 minutes?
Yeah.
I could talk about this specific movie for 40 minutes, too.
Yeah, but we have an audience. We have to respect.
Do you know what it is? Say it.
Is it a Godzilla movie?
It's a Godzilla movie. Do you know which Godzilla movie, though, out of, like, the 38?
I think you're gonna be the way you are, and you're not gonna pick the one that I would pick, which I think is the best one.
No, I agree with you. I know where you're going, but which one do you think I picked?
It's probably a more obscure one that I don't know.
So I think you were thinking -1.
Oh, what's that other one with like where the guy was in the suit that came out not too long ago?
Shin Godzilla.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Is
it released. No, it's not that one either. Yeah, Brandon was surprised that it wasn't that one.
Yeah.
Like, because I talk about it so much. The movie that I chose as my Godzilla movie, like describing me, would be 2004 Godzilla Final Wars. It's one of those movies where they bring everyone and they fight. Because the thing is, every Godzilla movie, right? Like every time they launch it again, it's always Godzilla and the humans, and they're trying to throw in human subplots and everything, right? -1 did an exceptional job at that, but every other movie is like, okay, whatever. Godzilla Final Wars is nothing but dudes in rubber suits throwing hands for an hour and 50 minutes, maybe like 2 hours 10 minutes. It's just hands after hands. People are getting whooped left and right. And I think when you're a little kid watching live action Saturday movie, right, like a Saturday cartoon sort of thing, yeah, I mean, I literally got to see every monster from every millennium just get their butts whooped to, get their tails handed to them.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's cool things too. Like we got like Monster X from that. Like the designs were really good too. I think that's where I want to go with this. It was a good blend of modern technology like CGI and dudes in rubber suits, where I don't feel like I'm watching a dudes in rubber suits movie.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm actually like a kid. I'm watching monsters. The illusion was there for me when I was younger. So.
Why do you love Godzilla so much?
I don't know, man. I grew up with them. I had the VHSs to a bunch of like the Heisei movies. Yeah. Like I don't know if it's Heisei, but like Godzilla vs. Destroyer, GMK, All Out Monsters Attack, Tokyo SOS. Like I grew up on them.
I'm just picturing like baby Chris like knocking over blocks and parents being like,
"Yeah,
dude,
like
Godzilla one day."
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
No, Godzilla's great. I mean, I don't really have much to say about Godzilla. Like, I've more so seen the American stuff. When I've tried watching the other things, it just doesn't really click with me. Mm-hmm. But obviously, you're going to have Godzilla on. Now, it would be crazy if you have 2 Godzilla movies on your list.
No, I limited, I don't know if you noticed, I've been limited to one of each type of movie.
That's what I tried to do, too.
Yeah.
All right, well, speaking of world-changing events, my next movie, let's see if you can maybe guess. There is no English in this movie. It's all subtitles.
See, I made a joke about this with my girlfriend about like, what if like, oh, guess what movie I watched? And it's like, oh, you have to watch the 1947 film that you could only find in like the backstreet alley of like a French village. Yeah.
It is not that at all.
Okay.
This is a mainstream movie, but they chose to not have it in English.
Parasite.
No.
What?
But this start with a P.
Oh.
Passion of the Christ.
Really?
Yeah. So this one was hard for me to make a pick at first because I was like, I feel like I should have something that highlights faith And then I was like, oh, it's a no-brainer, and it's because of like that time in history. So to rewind, that movie came out when I was in high school. I did not believe anything growing up, and so I was like a, I don't know, like the youth group kids would call like a rebellious kid or so. I don't know what. Maybe they don't even like. They probably don't even say anything because usually people
Can I
are
ask
that
you
judgmental.
something?
Yeah.
Small town Illinois, was everyone religious?
It's different than it is here. So a lot of people will associate as Christian, whereas like up here, I feel like you get that with Catholics. Like
Okay.
everyone associates as a Catholic, but it's more of like a cultural thing, and it's not actually a belief thing. Like they might not actually believe in God, but they like go to church because it's like what they have to do.
Yeah.
Or they get married in
So
a
you're,
church.
like,
so it
raised
was kind
religious.
of like that, but more so with Christianity. So you didn't really see that with Catholics, and I would say more so maybe like the denominations too. Like typically you had to kind of pick a denomination as well. So like Methodist, Lutheran. So, but it was the same kind of thing where like, yeah, we're Christians, but then it's like they don't practice anything that Jesus would practice essentially. And so it was just kind of like a title. It wasn't really like, oh, I believe anything. So I would say it was maybe like that a little bit as I was a kid too. I think I had gone to some Sunday schools and stuff as a kid and everything, and like summer school stuff, but I didn't really have like my own faith or anything. And then in high school, I think it's freshman year, maybe it was sophomore year. A lot of it kind of blends together. My high school friend Bobby Adams, shout out to Bobby. I actually want to have him on an episode one time. He's in the Army, and he actually does like photo video stuff for the Army. He's also done some of his own, like he's kind of started his own freelance business too. But he has probably a lot of cool stories that we would never have ourselves. And so I actually want to have him on the episode. But he invited me to his youth group, and that was probably the first time I kind of had like an eye-opening experience of like, oh, like you can be a Christian and normal, like in a way, like because you go there, all the students are like kind of normal people, youth pastors, normal. It always felt very unattainable to me, and I think that's probably why I didn't have any belief in anything, because you go to a more like Catholic, for example, it feels very like cold and unapproachable. Like the priest is this kind of high up thing, and I go to this youth group, and it's like the youth pastor is just intermingling with everyone, and then I like the youth group, so then I went and checked out his church. Same thing, like the pastor, he's out in the lobby, he's talking to everyone, he's shaking hands, he's getting to know people, he's praying for people. And I was like, wow, this is totally different than what I always thought. I always thought it was more of like a religious thing where you follow these practices and then you get into heaven. But like these people, it was more about like it changed who they are, and it just kind of, that's just like what their personality is now, and that's how they treat people. They treat people well and all that kind of stuff. So during this time, pretty early on, I still was kind of like, well, I don't know about this stuff still. Like I was kind of like, I don't know if I believe all this or whatever. And then that movie had came out, and they did kind of like an outing thing for it. Because technically we weren't allowed to even go see it because it was rated R, right? So like they had to let in the student ministry or whatever and get like approval from our parents or something. So I go to see this movie, and say what you will about the movie and the director or whatever. I don't want to get into the politics of that. I don't really care about that. And I don't even know if it's really like the greatest movie or anything, but it kind of, those stories you hear about as a kid, like I'd briefly hear about like, oh, Jesus died for you or whatever, to actually see it played out in some way, I think it made it more real to me. And I even remember, I would say that's probably where I would say that I started believing in God, essentially, was after seeing that movie. And I remember going home that night and finding some random Bible that I must have gotten as a kid or whatever, and reading it, and how like the imagery like that I was reading, like it all made sense. Like I remember trying to pick up a book when I was younger, and I'm like, none of this makes any sense to me. It's just letters. It's not, I can't imagine like what this is. And I feel like for the first time I would read those words, and it like came to life for me after seeing that movie. So it's, again, like I don't know if it would go on a top list for me, but there is that impact of it. And I was trying to think of like a movie that incorporates faith, and it was probably the one that's like the clearest picture to talk about. So
that's powerful.
on that one.
That's powerful, man.
Next movie I have is Rush Hour 3.
Yeah.
This one actually probably did come out in a different language too, but I believe the default one is in English, and you would never guess this one in a million years.
What?
Never. I just can't wait to see your reaction. Crazy Rich Asians.
But it makes sense because you're like, we do weddings.
It's really just the wedding thing.
Yeah.
I really have nothing else to say about this one. This one we probably kind of like get through fast. But I want to tell you about my runner-up, because you would probably be like super into this movie, and I think you should go see it. You know the movie Quarantine?
No.
Really?
No, I don't know it.
I think it was found footage style as well. It's basically about this like apartment complex that gets infested with some kind of thing, and then they have to quarantine it off, and I think they turn them all into zombies or something. I don't remember. It's based off of this series. I don't remember what country, but it's a different country, and it's called Rec, like REC,
Okay.
like record. And they've had 3. Third one takes place at a wedding. A zombie outbreak happens at the wedding,
Oh my
and
God.
it's like the footage from the wedding videographer. So
Really?
I've never seen Rec 1 or 2. I don't think they're even related. I did watch 3 because a wedding videographer had told me about it.
Oh my
And you
goodness.
have to watch this movie.
Okay, I'll
As
watch
someone
it.
who does weddings, it's hilarious. So I wanted to plug that one. I almost put that on the list, but then it's like the zombie stuff. I'm like, I don't know, that doesn't really resonate with me. So I put Crazy Rich Asians because I don't know, it's just kind of a funny movie, and then it has the wedding element, and we do wedding videos. So
Yeah. No, I get that.
and I hope to film a wedding like that one
I
day.
get that. So these last 2 movies are magnus opus. Like I consider them like the best movies ever.
Yeah.
And you guessed it right. It was Ratatouille.
Wait,
Ratatouille.
I was joking.
Ratatouille. Oh,
That's
shit.
hilarious.
Yeah, it's Ratatouille.
I didn't see it.
It's Pixar's magnum opus in my opinion. I know they've had good movies. Toy
Yeah.
Story 3 was a tearjerker, but Ratatouille was just so good. I rewatched it so many times. Sometimes I have dates where we cook to the soundtrack. It's just such a good movie.
Yeah.
And I think to this day, like this last Halloween, I saw people like dressing up as like a chef with a little mouse, or like couples dressing up as a chef and a mouse, respectively. And I just think it has, not only is it like a really good movie, it's one where you rewatch. It doesn't really have adult jokes, but when you rewatch it as an adult, you get the dialogue, like when they're talking about the legal stuff. Whereas a kid, you're just reacting to funny faces and animation, but. It definitely it holds its weight with time, with age, and overall I think it's had a positive cultural influence. Like if I try to think of movies that I can feel in American culture, Ratatouille is one of them where I would say like, yeah, that's had an impact.
Yeah, it's funny. I can't, when I think of Ratatouille, there's always something else I think of now.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a certain movie that came out a few years ago, and there's a certain scene that's very related to Ratatouille.
Is it maybe Zootopia?
No, it's not animated. I'm trying to see if you know where I'm going.
No,
Anywhere, Everywhere at Once.
Oh yes,
I
you're
can't
right.
I think of Ratatouille, and now I always think of that as well.
The new
There's that
Zootopia movie, they made the Ratatouille joke.
Oh, they
like
did?
there was like a lion or tiger chef, and they have a rat there too, so
Yeah.
they reference it.
No, that's cool, and that actually is a good segue into mine because my next one is another Pixar.
Go ahead, yeah.
I was actually trying to limit the amount of Pixar, but I was trying. So where this one came to be, I was trying to think of representation of marriage and like my relationship with Emily.
Mm-hmm.
And my runner-up for this, and it was actually on my list for a while, was Warm Bodies. Just because,
Oh my
I don't
god,
like
is that the
rom-coms.
zombie movie?
Yeah, I
Dude,
don't like rom-coms.
That's such a deep cut.
Which is ironic in a way because we do wedding films, and some people could almost say those are like rom-coms. And usually when you're trying to think of like love stories, it usually comes from a rom-com, you know? And I'm like, this is like the closest thing I could pick for a rom-com. Like, I'm not going to pick any other rom-com.
Yeah.
But then I'm like, again, the zombie thing, I'm like, I don't really like zombies. So like,
Yeah,
I don't want to be on my list. So I'm like, all right, I gotta add one more Pixar movie to make this work then. So my ninth movie and my next Pixar movie, Up.
Oh, that's good. That should have been on my list.
Yeah.
That's
so,
good.
I mean, one, it's a fantastic movie. I did say Toy Story 3 was the first time I cried at a movie. I might have actually cried at this movie. I don't remember.
I did.
That opening
I did,
scene was very powerful. And even though it's not a love story, if anyway, it's kind of morbid in some ways. Put it on my
No,
list.
it's a love story.
But that
Yeah.
kind of like sincere sweetness of it, you know, it's just like that speaks to me. Some of the rest of the movie, in a way, it kind of goes off the rails, in my opinion, like with the dogs flying planes and stuff. But it kind of becomes a kids movie. I feel like as it goes, like I feel like it starts out, it's like this is not a kids movie, but then as it progresses, it's definitely like your typical.
Before I give you my last movie, we actually skipped one
Yeah.
on my list because you mentioned the director so many times. You mentioned Christopher Nolan, and I had a
So you have
Christopher
two
Nolan.
more movies?
I'm not going to talk about it much, but my like around Real Steel, I had Interstellar,
Okay.
and I think it's kind of self-explanatory.
And we kind of highlighted that, I think, when we talked about Martian.
Yeah, I think it's good. Like space movie, realistic, grounded. Yeah, so that was on this. But my last movie, my magnum opus, I wrote a paper on this movie. I rewatched it 4 times, and I still find stuff like Easter eggs or stuff. Not like Easter eggs, but like creative choices, I still catch them. I'm like, oh, that's why they did that.
Yeah.
Guess?
Give me a hint.
Scorsese.
Give me another hint.
Shutter Island.
Oh, actually, I probably should have known this because you mentioned Shutter Island.
Dude, it is the... If I had to consider, like, could we talk about entertaining movies?
Yeah.
If I had to talk about, like, critically the best movie I've ever watched, it would be Shutter Island.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's saying because it's been a super long time since I've watched movies like The Godfather or stuff like that. But Shutter Island I've rewatched over the years so many times, and I've written a paper on it, and it's just every single decision just supports the story.
Yeah.
And the plot twist, like, definitely caught me, so.
Yeah. I feel kind of bad because mine is not a... my last one. So, like, when I made my list, I didn't, like, plan it like, oh, the last one's a big one. So now I
No, I get that.
so mine is not like a payoff.
No,
of
you're
everything.
okay. It's just like I found a byline, and so I
Yeah.
went with it. But
So my last one is actually also a 2010 movie, and I actually remember seeing this movie around the same time as seeing Shutter Island, which is kind of funny, but very different movie than Shutter Island.
okay,
Scott Pilgrim versus the World.
I have to disagree with you here, man.
Why?
I'm not a fan.
Well, I'm not saying it's because of the again.
Again,
I think you
go on. Tell me.
You missed the homework here, but
no,
it's not.
It's not that I missed the homework.
Movie.
I know.
It's the personality of the movie.
Brandon loves this movie too.
Yeah, see that makes I can
know.
actually totally see that.
Okay, so go on.
It'd probably be on his list. Again, not so much the story. Like the story and everything has nothing really to do with me. It's the style of the movie, and it's also, again, kind of like why I had the Mario movie on there. Like as a kid, video games were like a pretty big part of my life, and this is like infused with that culture in a lot of ways without being like overly like this is a video game movie. It feels like you're watching a video game play out as you're watching the movie. It's like basically bosses. He's going through levels, but you have to also think about like the time period it came out. So 2010, I was like in the thick of school, and I thought I was gonna do special effects, and I had just loved like the over-the-top obviousness of the special effects of the movie, and that kind of actually shaped some of the projects I worked on at that time, because like we did a music video, for example, and I had done a bunch of like adding like 2D graphics and like masking around people like arrows and motion and stuff. And so I think the movie, again, I wouldn't say it's like a great plot or anything, but I think just like what the movie is, the concept of the movie, like resonates with me so well, so that's why it's on my list.
I will give it credit though. Like as far as like production quality, it was a really good film.
Yeah.
I just didn't like the story.
Yeah.
It's just a personal thing. Like
You probably were going through a bad breakup at the time.
no, I don't know. If
So this is a very anti-galactic.
anti-galactic. That's crazy. Yeah, it was a little bit of a loose ending, but I liked it. But anyways,
So I want to ask the viewers before we close out. You kind of know our descriptions already, so it's a little bit of cheating, but I'd love for you to just kind of imagine if you read these 10 movies and a list, would you picture Chris or I? I'd love to kind of hear if it lines up or not. So again, more of a casual episode. You probably didn't sharpen any skills, but if you are looking for a place you can sharpen your golf skills, where could they go, Chris?
Shout out to Swing Loose Indoor Golf at Bellworks in Hoffman Estates. They let us use this golf bay. You can use it to sharpen your skills because they have a TrackMan system. Basically, it tracks you and it gives you data and analytics for you to improve your swing, and it practices in their simulator different courses that you'd like to go on. I want to see what they have. I don't know anything about golf, but I will definitely improve here at Swing Loose Indoor Golf at Bellworks in Hoffman Estates. And thank you everyone for watching this episode. Again, it's been almost creative, and we'll see you guys in the next one.
Stay creative.